And because we're talking about the polarization of our culture and what is taking place in the, again, critical race theory derivative is intersectionality. Intersectionality is being taught to corporate executives as we speak all over the country.
Okay.
The leading advocate and DEI consultant in that case is a woman named Robin DiAngelo, who wrote a book called White Fragility, which you and I have both read, and we've talked about quite a bit. We tried to keep as much as we could for this conversation. But I also want to preface that what I believe is that Robin DiAngelo has a big heart. I think she comes from the right place. I don't think she's trying to cause more turmoil or division between white and black people. And we're just going to stick with white and black people with her stuff, because obviously there's other intersectionality pieces, but all the homework we did together was specific to black culture. And Robin,
but her audience is a white audience.
Correct.
That book was written to a white audience.
It was, and in part because she believes that white people, and this isn't even pulling any punches, she believes that all white people are racist implicitly. And she believes that because our origins as a country are based in white supremacy, that most of our thinking and behavior is based in white supremacy. And so she will actually frame her discussions within her sessions with those exact pieces. So let's talk about the positives of Robin first, because there's a lot there. One of which you mentioned to me, and we didn't elaborate on purpose, but you said she named a lot of things inside the book that I wanted other people to recognize, but no one has done so to date. So why don't we start there? Because again, I think she's trying. I just have some huge problems with.
So I think we have to mention who she wrote the book to. She didn't write the book to me, because what she did was she documented my experiences.
Correct.
And she framed them in these sociological terms and these intellectual terms and all the terms that the majority culture needs to hear to even. The same reason that critical race theory is critical race theory, because it needed to be a theory for it to even be brought to the
discussed.
table.
Well, and let me also interrupt. She has a PhD in white studies. So this is a very educated woman. This isn't someone who just decided she was going to go out and be a consultant. So I'm sorry, but I want to mention that.
Yeah. And so I do. So what she did was, so she took all of my experiences and she documented in a very formal way, a very, very, like you said, she's very educated in a very formal way, and she presented it. And that's right. And I think, and everything is, well, I think she had two bases. I think one was white supremacy. I think the other, and maybe it's just a part of it, was white solidarity. Right. And I think the third one would have to be Black oppression.
Okay.
Because none of those three, to me, those were the legs of her book.
Yeah.
That's what everything stood on.
I agree. What did you like most? What resonates with you most from the book?
What resonated most, I think that's exactly what resonated with me most. Exactly. Was her ability, because a lot of times, especially with CRT, I think just any critical theory in general, it's so wordy. It's so wordy and it's so formal and it's so not real. It's not action. It's not the everyday steps. It's the grant that you write to get the millions of dollars so you can send the people out there to feed the people, right? It's not the groundwork. And I think as a member of the Black race, being Black and owning it, I think the groundwork is not, I think the groundwork is, the experience is everything. It's not, I don't know how to say, for someone to be able to put your life into words is pretty powerful. And I say it's powerful because it's like, oh, so you do know what you've been doing all these years. These aren't just happenstance situations. This isn't just me being kind of, feeling like I'm wrong because I was taught, like Dax mentor. I don't think Dax, somebody mentioned that, your parents tell you just treat everybody the same, don't choose sides, like be equal, be fair, and this is what you try to do as a child, but then yet you're treated unfairly, or your application is not seen for the Girl Scouts, or you're not, and you're like, why? And I remember this specifically. It was like so many childhood instances came back as we began talking that I never even gave merit to. Because I know that my parents saw them, but to define them to me is only going to create a roadblock. And so let's just overlook it because they weren't willing to fight for it. Because and at the end of the day, it wasn't really that important for them to fight for anyway, because it was just going to cost them a little more money, right?
Yeah.
When they knew in their hearts the important things they're going to pay for, the study abroad program to Europe, the trips overseas, those are things they're willing to invest in. We're not really going to invest in this stuff because then it's more red tape. We're going to have to fight with these people. And that's how it's approached, really. So unbeknownst to me, I'm just thinking, oh, I guess they didn't want me in that organization.
Okay. Well, and that goes to this is an excerpt from her book that I found, actually, I know you liked. Okay. In some ways, racism's adaptations over time are more sinister than concrete rules such as Jim Crow. The adaptations produce the same outcome. People of color are blocked from moving forward, but have been put in place by a dominant white society that won't or can't admit to its beliefs. And that was one of the things that you talked about, and I actually have it down here in my notes, because she is saying that the adaptations themselves are sinister because they're silent and they're woven into the fabric of our culture. And it is worse than Jim Crow then, because Jim Crow was at least blatant and out there versus all of the indiscretions that you talked about and that you felt when you read her stuff.